I'm doing pretty well. Okay, we got the recording down. By the way, um, if you have the space on your computer to record the meetings, I both welcome you to do it and also highlight that I've gone and I've looked back at some of the other House of TAT meetings, and it's been a
Hmm.
really special thing. The House of TAT's a really special place. It's almost like going back and watching recording of having fun with family. And
I know, right? It's crazy.
yeah. So, so if you resonate with doing so, you're certainly welcome to go ahead and record and save those for your own purposes or for um, posterity or not posterity or sentiment. That's it. It's sentimental.
I got you. Yeah, I'm usually on my phone, but it's good to know because I do want to start practicing using Zoom more on my computer. Yeah. It's just my phone is so mobile. I just take it and do everything. I even edit on my phone and stuff. So like when I'm talking to you guys, I'm usually outside on the balcony and I usually don't have my laptop with me out here.
Yes. Okay. So we actually have some new sets of chimes out that I didn't have out before.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
we have these couple of sets that I really like. These are my 68-inch Bells of Paradise.
Nice. Sound really good.
And my 88-inch Bells of Paradise. I also just realized that the wind sail to my 88-inch Bells of Paradise I failed to get out of the box. And the box is now wedged under another box, so it's going to be quite difficult to get that out of there.
Oh, wow.
So, oh well.
Project for another day, right?
Possibly. Um, I just made a recording that goes into detail with something that I share with respect to the idea of rules of the House of TAT, because
Hmm.
that's been a theme that's been ongoing on Discord, and the House of TAT is a bit different because there are no rules here, and I share in that
Hmm.
recording how that can possibly work, um, and that's part of what Type 1 being is for me. The idea of everything being perfect when left alone, when left to be free. Um,
Yeah.
it's such a special thing, but it's actually a tricky thing to master because that's learning to basically put complete faith in everything, to just get so used to everything being perfect on its own that it
Yeah.
does so. And it's almost like giving life your blessing in unconditional trust. Um, and then it surprises you with how good it is. Basically, that's what it's like to live it
Like watching a movie.
better because because you know it's your life. A lot of people like when you get to see how much you know how much God can be there and bless you. It's a special thing when you give everything totally to Him, when you give everything totally to just people in general. Um, there's goodness that could present itself that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see or appreciate. So that's been a really special theme for me to explore, and I've basically been going full bore into that. And so it's been difficult. Well, until today was actually pretty easy today and pretty easy for a good portion yesterday. But the days before, my goodness. Oh, my mic gain is too far down. Okay, let me go ahead and ring those chimes for you again.
They were perfect.
Huh.
Yeah, they were perfect the first time too.
Huh. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
they sound really good the first time.
I'm glad that they're good this time too.
Hmm.
By the way, I'm maneuvering away from Discord. Um, I'm mostly kind of going back to the way things were because that was actually working a lot better for me. Letting life express itself over on Discord freely.
Yeah.
Uh, I tend to express myself much better just here on Zoom. So,
Are the pages, the Discord pages that you have started, will they be going away?
I don't think so. Probably more like they're just, I'm just not going to use them myself. Um, I did think about closing down that server, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm probably just going to leave it there and then just not do anything with it. So let me go ahead and put my laptop. Let me put this laptop. Um, I'm actually realizing it's going to have to wait here until the recording from the last section of the Zoom meeting. Okay, that's done exporting, so now I can shut this thing down and get it off the floor and out of the way. What kind of music do you like? I'm curious.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Huh. Oh, I remember Rob asked that question because you were on the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, so it's in the lightning round over there.
Yeah, I mean, naturally I gravitate towards rap because I used to rap, and I grew up in an area where rap was, like how we expressed ourselves and listening to it was part of the culture and stuff.
Yeah.
So naturally I'm always, keeping up with that, or at least the older stuff. I'm not too much of a fan of what's been put out within the last decade.
Oh.
I find some stuff to vibe with just because it's like, you just gotta kind of stay with the times and see what everybody's doing. But for the most part, I like to listen to the stuff I grew up with. And my other favorite music is like 70s, 80s rock. Um, yeah,
I'm too stubborn to keep up with the times personally.
yeah. It doesn't serve me personally.
I tend to I I tend to just go off and do my own thing. But I'm kind of like
Same.
that anyway. So
Yeah, it's crazy. I end up listening to more rock or like 70s, 80s music. Sometimes I'll go, listen to like classical stuff. My playlist is very random. I could have like a Tupac song come on, then the next song be like a gospel song, and then the next song be like something from the 70s. So I have to separate my playlist because it can be too weird if I just have all my music in one playlist. It'll be crazy.
yeah, it's a lot of it's hodgepodge of stuff.
Right.
Let's see.
But it's funny, I don't really like listening to music in the radio. I don't like the radio in the car. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't like to listen to the radio.
There's my
I'm
other.
one of those people that can drive like in complete silence.
Yeah, for me because of the kind of cars that I like, I'd just be listening to the engine and I'd be in the
Yeah, yeah,
car.
yeah.
How are you doing?
Just to,
How are you doing with respect to the old wounds of what happened? You doing
I'm
better?
pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah. I got in the car the other day and I didn't have too much like negative energy. I was just excited because me and my family were like going to take my daughter and son to get some new clothes, and then we were going to go out to eat, and that was like the first time we had been able to do anything like that in a while. So I think I was more excited about us getting out and doing that than letting the trauma keep me away from it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, um, I realized within the last 3 or 4 days or so, ever since that meeting on Thursday, um, I one of the things that came up was the trauma from what happened with my body from that vitamin deficiency. Because just like there's the fear of something happening on the road, there's the fear of just the body falling apart or something going wrong that's going to put me in the hospital. And I
Yeah,
went
exactly.
through that bit of psychiatric trauma, and I just had to deal with that. And the only thing I really had to offer to myself was that it's a learning process. The thing with the body. And that learning process is almost like walking the gauntlet. You're either going to make it or you don't. You got to make peace with that. And then aside from that, do the best that you can do. And
Exactly.
keep doing what you can to push the envelope of what the best you can do is. And so that's basically what I decided to just get up and do. And I'm doing it. So
Yeah.
figuring out everything about my consciousness and about my body and getting to understand what does what and find the connections. And I'm kind of early on in the process. I really don't understand all the connections between my body and my consciousness and how I work and why my
Same.
body does what it does. But
Yeah.
um, I could
I
just
think that will always for everybody, even the enlightened ones, that's always going to be uh something involving anyways, kind of like a forever learning mission, like there'll never be a time where we're like 100% like, oh, cool, I know everything now about my body, this and that. Like it's always going to be changing, just like the universe or Earth. So it's like something we'll always get to explore, basically.
in a way. But for me, once I make it to Tat City or get the tools I need to read my body with the nanites, then I'll know. But Or if I find another way, which that's a possibility, I know where the other ways are, so it's possible I'll run into one of them. I thought about going into the medical field a few times, but that's not for me because there's just that's the specific variation of that kind of life that's here now. It's just not really my fancy. So I'm
Yeah, I
just gonna
get
go
that.
ahead and I've done a good job learning my body by feel and learning to trust my heart. And for me, that's what a lot of this is: just trusting my heart and continuing to open up more room for expression. It's a remarkable thing what I uncovered um, recently because I found um, the expression process where you have a seed of expression within your consciousness, and you can see how that can express itself in the dream state. And I matched that same process to what happens here. There's a much narrower band for room for expression here on Earth, given how many rules there are. Everything tends to conform to those rules, and there's a lot less free consciousness available for direct expression. But it is there, and I could see how expression and what a lot of people call manifestation can take place, whereas in a dream state, everything's so much more fluid. And I could actually
Yeah,
see the open volume where there is room. And I'm getting to understand why this reality is what it is and why it does what it does, all the different facets of it, from the collective facets and the wandering patterns of this particular kind of consciousness. And I'm learning um, what in me makes those and why. And I'm wanting to expand. And I guess what I'm going to really need to do is just explore those things in depth and get to appreciate them in all their facets. And then I will understand how to open up in those areas, how to have more. I think I'll learn that naturally as I explore that, but I'm gonna, as I usually do with things, go pedal to the metal and learn it in large groups so that way I could get it all done in a few years since I want to go really far with this incarnation. So, because I don't just need to do this to understand how to work my body and how to just, be well. I need to do this to see all the things I want to see. So, I'm going to end up doing this anyway, one way or another.
yeah,
That'd be a cool and new experience to do this. Really, in a lot of ways, um, this is laying the framework for moving into fifth density. Um, and so I have four goals. One of them is to be type 1, and I very nearly have that one achieved. Another is to get to TAT City and see the beings there and see my ship. A third is to get into the fifth density, and the fourth is to get into the sixth density. And experience what those have to offer. And I want to go ahead and see if I can pull that all off in one incarnation. And I know one thing is for sure: if I get even close to doing those things, I'm not. I'm gonna live a lot longer than a normal human lives
yeah.
because I'm gonna keep opening up more things to explore, and that will keep me occupied here for longer. So
That's true.
I'd like to ask you some questions, but I don't know what to ask you, so I guess I'm just gonna ask what fascinates you right now. What kind of things would you desire to share right now?
You can ask me anything.
All right, maybe I'll just come up with some random question. Um, if like the last couple of things that you bought, what of them stands out to you, and why did you buy it?
Mm, I don't buy a lot of things, especially for myself. So my big purchase that stood out for me last year would be my laptop
Mm.
that I had to replace because my other one just literally I couldn't get the screen on ever again. I forgot exactly what the deal was, but it was a goner, and I had to get another one. Because I homeschool and our life depends on our laptop for homeschooling, virtually or whatever.
Mm.
So yeah, that and I guess and the purchase of our car. I mean, that was the big thing because our other one was pretty much just snatched from us from being totaled in the car accident, and got another one. So yeah,
Mm. How do you
other
like
than
the?
that,
Huh?
nothing much. To how I like it,
Yeah. How do you like the new car?
it's nice. Not what I really, really, really wanted, but when you don't have the money at the time for some random accident to get a new car, you can't get exactly what you want. So that's me and my husband's goal. We want to trade this one in a few months and kind of get something we really, really wanted. We're just blessed that we were able to, get another one and have something because he starts his new job tomorrow. So we had to have a new car before he started his new job.
Huh.
And that's all we cared about, a ride to get from A to Z.
Playing the long game.
Yeah, we'll get the bells and whistles as they come, but uh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
been
we
the
don't
theme. Huh?
we don't do too much spending over here. Hopefully someday that can change. I'm really hoping 2024 I can have some epiphany on how to get my client my my fan base that would like my art. I don't know how to target those people. I don't know where they are, who they are, or whatever. So that's my goal in 2024. If I can make some money and actually be able to buy stuff every now and then.
Let me go ahead and send you a link from a guy. Um, and this. He's hilarious. So he talks all about business and money and how to do that. And I mean, he's not a billionaire anymore. He's a multimillionaire now because he stepped away a bit from his company and problems came up and now he's rebuilding it again. So
Okay. So he took a little bit of loss, but he's, making his
yeah,
way back up. Yeah.
he is a car
Any business.
he is a car guy who made an absolute killing selling wheels and tires.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about how he
Wow.
started up that business when he's a little kid.
Cool.
And so he's talking about how to successfully start a business and all that. And I think the thing that I would share with respect to, I know there's some other thing I wanted to share, but I want to share this more. Um, and so when you go ahead and find something that you can make, something that could help people to do something that they weren't able to do before, that they really love to have in light of that. Yeah, that's the right way to
Yeah.
get rich quick. That's the right way
Right.
to do it because
Yeah.
then all you have to do is just find ways to make more of it because it's gonna sell out at that point. So you just have to keep making more, and
Mm-hmm.
then the more you expand the business and the more you can get a good team of people, a good group, and work together, then that's how you do it, and that's how you win. You can get yourself a good team, a good group of folks to work with you and back you up.
Yeah. I would love to find somebody who does like that would be the equivalent of having like a manager where they kind of help. It's another term for it, but I can't think of it right now, but they kind of help you find buyers and stuff. But the only thing is with those people they get, you have to pay them a percentage, but I literally would not mind um
Well,
somebody who's good with like marketing and stuff because I honestly I'm just one of those people where I want to be in my workshop or my art area creating, and the business part is the part that's just like I wish I could have somebody else who is good at that part do it. We go 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever the split is, but like I just want to focus on making the art.
Yeah, I know there's a name for that, but I don't remember either. Um,
Right? I know it's like at the tip of my tongue, but no, it's
I
not
feel like it
broker.
starts with a P. Um,
Agent, maybe a sales agent, like an art agent, because that's
yeah,
essentially what we have for acting also. They find you, gigs or whatever.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting because for me, I'm the kind of guy where if I wanted to go ahead and build a business selling chime, I'd make a bunch of really nice chimes, and then I would take them to an art museum or I'd go exhibit them somewhere, and I would
Yeah.
enjoy that so much, and I would be there too because I would love to go ahead and share this with people, and then
Yeah.
um, I'd have enough stuff pre-made because I'm not going to do things on commission. But I'm going to go ahead and
No.
basically have pre-made all the parts for a commission. So if somebody wanted to commission something, I'd already have what they need. And so
Yeah.
then we just put it together and here you go. And
Exactly.
that's how I would make my money. And those chimes would not be cheap either because there's the amount of workmanship that would be in them. Um, so it's
Yeah.
just a very high end thing. Um, so
Yeah, I'll figure it out. That's why I like having Redbubble, because I can with my digital designs, I put them on like mugs, t-shirts, and stuff like that. So it's like I always have a store where people can go buy like you know, my designs on product. And that is honestly more fun to me sometimes than doing the abstract art. I don't know why, but yeah.
they're cute, I guess.
Hmm?
They're cute, I guess.
Well, the digital art, I can just do so many different things. Like I've been waiting for people to put in requests because like say someone's like, "Oh, I want a sunflower comforter and a matching pillow." I can create that and put it on my Redbubble site and they can go there and purchase it. So I try to put on my Instagram and my Facebook page, to make requests and things, but it's like people just when it comes to my art promoting, it's like they don't read or something. I don't know what it is. So annoying. So yeah, I'm just counting on the universe at this point. Like maybe my angels will send me some customers this year that are, you know, gonna be my old faithfuls. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you watch what Steve Hamilton shares, and again, a lot of times it's making something that stands out. In the case of art, it'd be something that strikes a nerve that other things just don't strike. Um,
Yeah,
it's like you could share something with them. I go back to what Sunboy and he said, find something that you love doing, something that hasn't been done before, something that's not in the galaxy, and make that your gift. Um,
yeah,
and in a way, what Steve Hamilton shared is a variation on this. Um, Although I hit a little bit more at the heart of the matter than Steve did, but I know that's what Steve wants to share. Um, so a lot of times people have some idea in mind to share. The idea that they end up sharing isn't the essence of what they want to share, but it's close
yeah,
enough that that's what they do share. I usually,
yeah.
with everything that I've done with consciousness, I usually do see the essence, and so I can share that directly. it just now occurred to me there are a lot of people that are a bit afraid of being recorded. The best thing to do if you're afraid of being recorded is to record yourself. And because a lot of times the fear of being recorded, some of the roots of this, not all of them, but a lot of them are in the idea of the abuse of that recording and where people misuse it in various different ways. If you have a recording of yourself, and let's say some paparazzi who records you, then spreads a message that's not true, you can go ahead and share the whole original recording, and the rest of it is a matter of your own reflection and all that, because you have to remember that even the physical reality is a reflection of yourself, and it can express the idea of nightmare scenarios if you have the seed to that within. And so, if you go ahead and let go of that seed, it will become a lot easier to understand how to handle many of those situations. And then also, it will be easier to express the things that you want to express that are not those situations, but rather what you would want out of a recording.
Yeah.
The camera was probably my favorite toy as a kid. Always loved filming stuff and filming myself doing things and taking pictures and just having fun and seeing what kind of things I could make the camera do. I'll go ahead and demonstrate a little something for you. Let me go ahead and I need to find my eagle pair if I'm going to do this though. The eagle pair is a pair of laser safety glasses that I have. A very, very nice pair of safety glasses that does a good job shielding my eyes from specific wavelengths of light. If I'm going to turn on one of my lasers in here, I really should put that on because all these chimes could reflect the laser light in all kinds of different directions, and I do not want that in my eye. These lasers that I have are very powerful and can really, really wreck my eyes if I'm not careful. I like that pair of glasses in general, too. I would really like to find it. Most of the coordinating is going to probably be done by Omni, just like it was back in the old days before I came to Discord. It's probably going to go back to that. Um,
Yeah.
so I may show up on Discord, but only every once in a while. It'll be a much more rare thing.
You gave it a shot. That's all that counts, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah, it was good though. I did get some good experiences out of it. Got to meet some great new people, and and that was really special. And I got to really see a lot more of myself that I had not seen before, and it was a major step in my evolution. And it gave me a medium to screw up in, and I learned a lot from screwing up. And now I'm probably not going to mess up like that again. So I count that as a win. Here's a
Sounds like
win.
you get a lot out of it.
Yeah, um, except for one thing. A really good way for me to express myself. Um, Most of the energy that's over there, I cannot express my own lower fractal consciousness in. But my higher fractal consciousness can express itself there very, very well in just the happenings. So there's no place there really for my human expression, but there is place for my being as an entity. So
Hmm.
I'm going to go
That's,
ahead. And basically, that's exactly why I'm putting things back to the way they were before. So
yeah.
things had a way of working out themselves for the
Yeah.
experience that I want, all on their own. They do not need They do not need me to do anything. And
Yeah.
really, all things can be like that, to where you can really pick and choose what you want to do in life, and do what you want and let everything else do on its own. It takes a deep recognition of self to truly do that, though, and to integrate into that.
Yeah, it does.
I must say, I've really been very happy working with Art as much as I have lately. Even existing part of myself on his world with his people and getting to meet many of the people there. That was really special.
Oh, that's cool.
Just now learning how to do that with this part of myself.
Yeah.
So I can see them with my eyes. Become able to do things in my dream state too. I've been able to see a lot more of myself in my dream state than I was able to before. I can come to appreciate how much I really exist in my dream state. How much stuff I do when I'm not here. So much of that was previously not was previously stuff that I could not see. I can see it now, at least a lot more of it. I know I'm still not seeing all of it though, because I'm not able to co-create the actual process of myself slipping into the dream state.
Yeah.
When I'm able to do that, I'll be able to do astral projection, and then I will be able to, you know, depending on where excitement is, I should be able to channel, let my body do it. There's some componentry to that though that I need to go ahead and finish up, because I need to get used to the idea of other consciousness expressing itself through my body. It's really other parts of my own grander consciousness.
Hmm.
So the other consciousness expressing itself is consciousness other than my human consciousness, but it's still part of my consciousness as an entity. So
Right.
working with Omni as much as I have, and then working with Rob as well, has helped me. And working even with Daryl too, even though I haven't worked with him in person. I've worked with his consciousness enough to know that, I to see this dynamic, and then to be able to basically learn from it and integrate it into myself.
Awesome, because a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, they can. They just don't know it yet. The trick is to learn to move, and then you kind of have to learn how to learn to move, learn, your consciousness, and learn the kind of things to look for and how to look at these specific things. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it anybody can do it, but the build up to being able to do it might take some time. That's not something that tends to happen overnight. Not unless you do
Oh,
instant shift.
not at all.
You can do instant shifting and you can learn it overnight, but it's not the same. Um, I prefer to learn it, piece by piece, because I kind of like the idea of walking the whole journey. It's just a
Yeah.
really cool experience to have. But instant shifting is not unknown in the collective. It's definitely something that not only can be done in principle, but is done sometimes here. Probably the most noteworthy
Yeah.
example is in the form of instant healing.
Yeah.
I get mixed feelings about that with myself, because there are a lot of times where I do want to go ahead and just instantly heal my body. But at the same time, going through what I'm going through, I am learning about my body, so it's a trade off going either way. So, maybe I'll ask you, maybe since you opened up with the questions, maybe I'll ask you something a little deep. Um, what is the thing that causes you to keep coming back to the House of TAT? Maybe that's a question we ask a lot of people. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go first. I'm going to answer that question myself. Um,
Okay,
and no, I'm not. I'm going to make you go first. Ladies first.
sure. I guess just like-minded, we don't a lot of us don't have like-minded people to talk to. So I get to come on here every now and then and have talk with like-minded people pretty much. Usually I'm looking forward to, either learning something new or exploring something different or something like that. Um and just trying to be consistent with being a part of a group and stuff because I get bored easy and can lose interest easy. And I'll just be like, whatever, I'm over that. So I'm trying to train myself to not be that way and be consistent as much as I can.
Why? That last part I didn't bother to do because I kind of like the idea. This is like the quintessential kid with autism thing.
Hmm.
The idea of just losing interest in something that you're not interested in and just going off doing something else. Okay, I need to quit flailing my arms around everywhere because I'm bumping things.
The chimes are like, "Amen, brother."
Yeah, I mean, the problem is I'm flailing around, and I did this when I was talking with Star. I'm moving my arms around too much or doing different things, and I'm bumping the chimes and interrupting myself.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, the quintessential kid with autism thing. Uh, Attention goes where it's wanted, goes away from where it's not wanted. And so when you try to
yeah,
do something you don't want to do, you just kind of. And so that's what
true.
happens. Fall asleep in
Yeah,
class. You know what keeps me coming back to the house of TAT? Um, there's a magic here. It gives me the chance to practice being type 1, but it also gives me a chance to connect with everybody.
yeah.
It's a cool thing because I've seen several of the people that are here on YouTube. Um, and then we actually get to meet each other. Like, a lot of us met on the YouTube chat in the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. And
Yep,
it's
yep.
pretty cool to like get to now talk to these people, the closest thing to what's in person, basically.
Yeah, I know, right? We're not just little dots in the chat, names in the chat anymore.
Yeah, yeah, we know each other, like full on know each other, basically,
Yeah,
and
that is the cool part.
we have an avenue now in which we can work directly with each other. And the thing is, Discord has a lot more rules than Zoom does. Zoom is a very open platform where we can basically do what we want, and
Yeah.
it just leaves a much more open place. And then the tooling is better here. Like, it's much better. In the voice channel, I can't play my chimes, and I have messed with it. At one point, I got them sounding pretty good, but I don't think it's even close to what we get here. So
Probably choppy, right? Like goes in and out or something.
I don't know. I've never actually got to hear it because
Mhm.
Discord does so much to mess with the audio to try to clear everything up. It's designed
Oh,
for
okay.
speech. It's not designed for
Yeah.
music. But Zoom actually has a specific feature, um, original sound for musicians, to
Oh,
where
okay.
you can turn that on and you're hearing the raw input of the mic. And that's
Yeah.
it. It's unfiltered. It's not doing anything to enhance it. It's just simply there. The only thing that it does to it right now is echo cancellation.
Okay.
And so that allows you to not hear your own self. Um, while I can still do things like this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how clear it sounds.
Yeah, it's such a nice thing to be able to share that live. Um, and that's another thing that keeps me coming back here is I can share basically all that I am with you guys. And
Yeah.
now I built myself from the ground up. It's like having a hypercar in your garage. Like a Ferrari F50 that never ever
Yeah.
gets driven. And now I'm
Right.
finally getting driven.
I like that analogy.
So that's something I like. Cars are meant for
Putting some miles on you.
Yeah, cars are meant to be driven, and I'm meant to be used. So I didn't build this mine for it to just sit and degrade.
Amen.
Yeah, indeed. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll get on Zoom camera one of these days. It's funny, I used to be in film and like I just went from wanting to be in front of the camera all the time and loving the idea of that to being like kind of opposite now. I don't know why.
yeah. Hey, I did get to see you on camera at one point, and that was pretty
Mhm.
nice. Here's something I got for you since you mentioned film. All you need to do is go ahead and instead of doing like the virtual background things that Zoom does, why don't you go ahead and build up like the little area or wherever you keep your computer set up in it. From what I did see, it looked like you had like a small area around you, and you can go ahead and decorate that and make it to where the environment that is around you is expressive of you, and then that way you fit perfectly into that and can have something very special for people to look at.
Yeah, that's true. I could. It's funny. Are you talking about some of the videos from my page?
No, the first time that you came over and joined the House of TAT, I had a short time where I got to see you on camera.
Oh, okay. I probably was outside. I don't know where the heck I was then. My area, I don't know. That it's gonna be hard, man. I think it's almost easier for me to have a fake Zoom background because I literally have like that's why I'm outside now because I like have no privacy peace to even try to like, you know, do like a Zoom on a regular and stuff. Like I tried with my other page and it just didn't work out because if I'm not outside where it's noisy, like even talking to you, I mute often so you don't have to hear all the crap going on in my background. And if I'm in a house, my kids are playing or my husband's on he's a gamer on his off days. He likes to game. So I feel like I really don't have a place for me in my own home except for my balcony.
Hey, that
Yeah.
is where I saw you was on the balcony. It did look bright. I saw a lot of white. I couldn't tell if you were in like a well lit room with white walls, or if it was. That may very well have been a balcony. Um,
Yeah, probably the very first day I probably did start off in my room or something like that.
yeah.
And then I probably ended up coming out here. But some of the videos I did on my page, it was like this it's the spot where my armoire is and then where my nightstand almost meets. It's like a little bitty space right there where I kind of set my laptop in front of me and I had like a poster behind me that had like music words or something I forgot. And that's literally about the size of a chair, the space that I'm talking about. I would have to probably film there. That's how small of a space that I can like carve out for myself. And my art area looks crazy because it's like acrylic paint and stuff everywhere. Um, but yeah, I'll
that
figure out. I
that's
have to because I really do want to start doing my own videos and stuff this year. And I don't want to wait to like the middle of the year to finally get brave enough to do it or figure it out. Like I'm like it's January. If I can start now, I'll get a good momentum and I won't be like a whole year going past where I'm like, oh, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. Like I just want to get it over with now.
yeah. Hey, well, you know what? There's one thing that we can do, and this is something that makes the House of Tat really unique, is the idea of doing things together. This webcam is it sits on get it untangled. It's on this tripod right here, and
Hmm.
I could go ahead and take it around. I don't know what kind of webcam you have. If you're on, are you on your laptop or a phone?
I'm on my phone right now, and my laptop has a webcam, but it's not a separate one.
Yeah, it's built in. Usually, the laptops have a built-in webcam. Phone's built in as well,
Yeah.
but phone's portable. So I have a portable, just a plug-in webcam. I wonder if this thing has Bluetooth in it. Um, I don't think so, but that might be an interesting thing to toy with at some point because I can take this thing around and showcase different things.
Yeah.
Some of the different chimes. These are the big bells of paradise right here.
Ah.
I hope I didn't wreck this webcam. It's fallen over a few times, but fortunately, these are not that expensive. Like $60.
And it shows pretty good too. I always thought you were on a laptop this whole time.
I was at the beginning, but not now.
Okay.
Um, I much
Yeah, it's
prefer.
not grainy. The aperture seems like it's pretty good. It seems like it adjusts, the aperture adjusts as you move it around.
It doesn't have the biggest field of view like the laptop webcam does.
Oh
But it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But that's good. Oh.
It depends on what you want. A bigger field of view I would actually prefer because then you'd be able to see a lot more of the studio.
Yeah,
Man, that view that I had on the laptop, like you got to see the chimes from like down here
yeah.
and the larger field of view. I mean, that was pretty good. I love the way these chimes look from that perspective.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, we could go ahead and if you wanted to, when we have the House of TAT meetings, we could go ahead and uh, build the thing together, basically. Take a look at what's there and see, hey, why don't we try putting some of these things there, bounce ideas off each other, and we can kind of work together to go ahead and shape something and help you get an idea of your vision of what you want or that kind of thing and keep bouncing ideas off until we get it perfect.
It
So
might work one day, yeah.
yeah, and then that way, because perfect would basically be something that is the most expressive of you, or the thing that uh, the thing like that. If you're a space, this is what you'd look like.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
And that's actually kind of what I did in here. It caused me to switch to different lighting. So in here, like you see how we have this kind of a warm glow in here now.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that was almost by pure coincidence in a way because that is a string of lights for the patio.
Oh, cool.
A bunch of light bulbs in here, and they are a very
Yeah.
deep, warm white. And this string, these are all standard light bulb sockets.
Oh,
So
wow.
I ended up putting in this guy right here, a regular light
Yeah.
bulb. Really nice vintage kind of a coil in it.
Yeah, that's
There's a
cool.
second one. And these just have a really nice warm glow to them. So it's just this kind of beautiful, very lively, warm white in here.
Yeah.
Um,
It's almost like candles are lit, but you get like the lit candle feel without having to light candles.
exactly. Something a little bit like that. Uh,
Yeah.
and I love playing in G major with a theme like that. I wish I knew. Oh, that would be this set.
I'm ready to see my first UFO for 2024.
Hmm. There's UFO.
I need some activity in the skies over here.
I'm not that far away from being able to really understanding a lot of that. Um, I'm thinking about UFOs right now and understanding the consciousness behind those. Um, oh yes, one of the keys to what I'm looking for is in the video Ryoka released just recently, um, with contact with the Sasani. If you work with that and you get to understand the consciousness behind that, like go watch that video when you have time, or even right now. The video is only a few minutes long. Um, and then once you've seen some of that, when you come up with questions, ask him, and I'll be able to answer them and break down into detail more deeply the consciousness that is behind a lot of that, and you'll be able to work with your own UFOs. Because I was able to take what Ryoka shared and co-create exactly the kind of experience he was talking about with the Sasani in my dream state, and I have confidence that I can do that in the awakened state once I open up my mind to enough, expression, and I have enough open media to expression here in, as my reality, to where the experience that I'm looking for can take and can be. So, and I can't get over how accurate I was with the consciousness handbook material. Everything I iterated was really spot on with respect to consciousness expressing itself, and I've gotten to really see so many phenomena, and like I couldn't be more spot on with that material, and
Oh
so
wow, that's awesome.
I think Aradif would be very happy at that, and he seemed like, yeah, I think Aradif would be very happy with that.
He probably is. That'd be cool if he some way knows, knows what you're doing or what you worked on.
He does.
Yeah,
He does. The only reason I didn't say out loud that he definitely is because that's not didn't feel right to do that.
to
So
speak for him. Yeah, I get that.
yeah, well, it's not so much that. It's two different facets. One of them, self-aggrandizement. Second,
Mhm.
um, there is no one absolute truth. Things are way too dynamic, and so I kind of prefer to leave the energy open. That's just sort of the way I like to roll. So
Yeah,
by leaving the energy open, it allows me to have more experience. And I also think I know why Trebor Yitny seems to come through me more when I'm here at the house. And it's because this is kind of like right up his street. Uh, because he loves just connecting with all the different stories. And that's kind of the
yeah,
theme of the house. So,
yeah. Kind of like his playground.
yes, exactly.
I'm just in awe that they're still popping fireworks over here in my neighborhood. Like, we get it. It's a new year. Let's move on.
I love fireworks. I used to design fireworks in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. They have an excellent firework designer program. I learned from Davey499 how to use it. This guy on YouTube. His videos are now all down, but I had downloaded them to my computer prior, so I have some of his tutorials remaining, and
Oh,
would
wow,
love
that's
to one
cool.
day get Davey's permission to re-upload them because they were really special. But on the flip side, at this point, I know how to use the firework editor so well that I might just make tutorials of my own.
Yeah.
I need to practice doing that anyway because
Yeah, I
I've
like the ones you can see, but at this point they're just popping the really loud ones and it's getting annoying. And they're like boom every 5 minutes.
firecrackers.
Right. Like I want to see something in the sky if we're gonna be making all this noise.
Yeah, I bet you they can't afford them.
Oh, we on the actual holidays we have beautiful. That's what I logged back in the Tat House of Tat on January 1st. when New Year's happened, and I was trying to show the fireworks because they go all out. And what it is they have so many left over that it takes about them popping them every night for 2 weeks before they're finally gone. So they don't have any more of the colorful ones. But man, on 4th of July and January 1st, and it's another holiday. I think maybe Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day, maybe even both. But
Yeah,
Floridians they use any reason to pop fireworks here.
yeah,
And I'm always amazed at how good our neighborhood does because I'm like in this random, nothing special neighborhood, and we get like a legit light show to the point where we don't even plan on going anywhere during the holidays because we'll know we have, 4th of July fireworks here instead of being in traffic.
yeah, yeah,
That's the one thing I'm gonna miss when I move here. I'm gonna miss the free fireworks shows for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing because I think about fireworks a good bit. Not as much as I used to though, but
Yeah.
I do now. Now that the idea is here, it's a fun thing because when it comes to fireworks, now I'm getting distracted by the camera. But yeah, it's fun with the fireworks and all that because okay, now I'm off in the middle of nowhere in thought. Okay,
My brain does that too. Like I'll just feel the energy come in and I'm like, well, I gotta process whatever that was.
yeah, it's good stuff. I do love fireworks, so all that it's a really special thing.
Yeah.
What was that? So you have the free fireworks shows. I've just been rebuilding and mostly had to rebuild my consciousness because everything from that the New Year's Day house meeting, that was a big wreck for my consciousness. And it actually took me a while to fix all that and to discover that the House of TAT. I thought the house had lost its magic, but it really hadn't. When I went back and reminisced on the house meeting from this last Thursday, was actually pretty good, and every all the themes that I was looking for were there.
Yeah.
I just missed them, but yeah, the key to living life without imposing any rules of any kind is openness and faith. And, it's living by the idea that life is going to be perfect for you on its own and trusting it. And that's a very difficult thing to do. I like to call that free flying. There's no controls, nothing. It's
Yeah.
just flying and, free expression, free living to where just you know you're doing absolutely nothing to make anything do anything. You're completely on your own, and your reality is freely expressing itself. Now work your consciousness,
Yeah.
and it's a really cool way to exist, and that's basically what Type One consciousness is and what it does. Um, but it's a lot different from you know way I used to live life. I used to be pretty into rules and things like that, but now I want to let expression be perfect by taking freely as opposed to trying to narrow the areas for expression down to those that are my preference. I prefer to just let those come to fruition in total openness instead. It's a much
Yeah.
different way of working. It takes a lot of getting used to because it's so different. But once you do, my goodness, it's rewarding.
So what was said in regards to rules? Like, uh, I know I think I missed that conversation. I think I missed maybe two house meetings in the last
Nothing,
month or whatever.
nothing has been said with respect to rules at all. Actually, in the house until
Okay.
I came in today and then shared, what I shared, and that's going to be on YouTube. Um,
Hmm.
and that's a cool thing because I touched on so many things in that it really sounded more like a message from Aridif than a message. Well, I mean, a message for me. That's what messages for me are now starting to sound like. Um, when I have something I'm really excited to share, I'm getting
Yeah,
to the point where I can share just like Aridif can. And that's not the easiest thing ever to do, but like when you're really open to yourself, it is amazing. Amazing. The kind of things that a mind can do and what kind of like you could have a lot of details to share, a lot of things to address, and you could do so just so gracefully and so cleanly when you're really open to yourself and you're just open to expression taking and it becomes a natural thing. Iterating things gracefully like that becomes a lot easier to do, and it is special.
yeah.
I love being able to do that. And I'd love to go ahead and also help others to do the same, both in just working, in consciousness, but also here. So,
Yeah. I feel like I do that good sometimes. Like, I have some friends and family members that I talk to and work with, and they for some reason, I don't know, if they say I always have like the right words to say to them. Um, and I'm good at explaining things, I've been told. Um, that I'm just good at communicating, period. So I've been able to help, just my family and friends in ways. It's like my mother-in-law, she'd message me, how do you, what do they say about this, or what are your thoughts on this and that? And she'll be like, I get this a lot. Like, I never thought about it that way. I never thought about that way. I like to really, really have deep conversations, and um, usually what I say usually ends up helping somebody or something.
yeah,
But I don't get that opportunity that much, so sometimes I just keep my mouth shut.
yeah, I work hard to go ahead and do that here in particular. So, um, but I'm glad it looks like this place has been a medium for you to get to do that because I have seen times where like people are asking questions and then you're able to share your own perspective in your own life with respect to that, and it's a special thing to see because that's really kind of
Yeah,
what I made this place for, especially when a lot of times we're dealing with our own difficulties and we can kind of pool our wisdom to help each other through them,
yeah.
and I
Well, I
love.
know that one time I was like not disappointed, but I was a little disappointed that I got cut off before I can give some advice to I can't think of her name right now. But she's the one that always has to go walk her dog.
Morgan, the
Yeah,
spirit of the
Morgan.
trees.
Yeah. He brought up something and wasn't gonna add anything negative or anything. Like, I just had a good example of something similar I was dealing with a family member, not necessarily my husband. And before I could get it out, I think you were like, and that was like the second time you've done that where you're kind of like, oh, we shouldn't continue this. And just being honest, that kind of bothers me. It makes me feel limited. So when I come on here, I'm not as verbal as I want to be because I feel like I don't know what I'm gonna say that's gonna
Yeah.
sound like, like I don't know what my what limits I have as far as being able to express. So
Well, now that we're here, I think it's a perfect time to share what you wanted to share because that was just an unfortunate thing, and that happens sometimes where consciousness is not ready to co-create something, and I've been dealing with that. This is why I actually left Discord. It's one of the major contributing factors is because I just couldn't express myself in that capacity that you're talking about, and so
yeah.
but what was the thing? She's dealing with troubles, with her family member, with her husband and being able to express herself. And many of us share perspectives. What was the thing that you wanted to share?
Let me think. I think the one example I was gonna use is my niece, which I probably bring up a lot, but she's like, one of my closest relatives that I speak to on a regular basis, and I can't say that about all of my family members. And she totally don't believe in any of this, but we have like the best relationship at all, ever. And I don't force my beliefs on her. She don't force her beliefs on me. I can talk about all of this, and she's not like, oh, I don't, I don't want to hear that. But anyways, my advice, I think I was just gonna tell Morgan, is just keep living and being her own living example, because that's what I do. My niece doesn't believe in this and that, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I've been praying and trying to manifest such and such, and then I'll be like, guess what? Today such and such happened, and she'll be like, oh really? That's cool. She'll have a reaction. I'm not saying, oh, now do you believe me? I'm not saying, oh, blah, blah. I'm giving her little tokens of it, my own experiences, to just having her own life and do whatever she will with it. So my advice to Morgan was simply going to be just keep being that example of, how she's living spiritually. Because
Yeah.
at some point, he'll have one of those moments, those aha moments on his own. And that's the beauty of it. Like, instead of trying to bring somebody where you are, you let them have their own aha moment, because I had to have the same thing too. Like, I was a hardcore Christian. At some point in my life, as a teenager, I put myself in church. I remember I started going to church with my friends. Then I got in like my early 20s, I was still going to church. And at some point, it just started feeling weird. I don't know how to explain it. That can be like another conversation or whatever. But at some point, I kind of got out of the whole I need to go to church to prove I'm loved by God, or God loves me, or I have to go to church and do service to be worthy of living on this planet, et cetera, et cetera. And I just got to the point where I think I started coming across Abraham videos and those type of things. Even, like, honestly, when I used to explore all this, Illuminati and reptilian stuff on YouTube, be like, when YouTube first started, they had all of those rabbit hole videos you can go down. Like, those awakened me. I had my own awakening, in which I started looking more towards, like, oh, what is this? What is consciousness? What is spirituality? And from my other stories, that prior, like, within all of this happening, I'm having poltergeist experience and ghost experiences too. So a lot led me to be like, there's more than church. There's more than just that. And, came to my own realization. So I kind of like, that's how I see everybody else's experience. Like, you know, all the Christians or whoever or whatever religion, that's their own expression, and that's their stuff. I felt like Christianity for me was a step, to where I am now. And some people might never get to that, but there's different incarnations, and this might be their lifetime to go through certain things. So in the next lifetime, they can be like, you know what, I'm looking for enlightenment. I'm looking for a different type of something. And you can't keep interjecting things in other people's lives, because you can ruin a timeline for them. You can ruin the expressions and events that they're meant to have. So, just like knowing that you were allowed to just let people be.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of what I had to do with my mom, except it was different because with my
Yeah.
journey, um, it was learning all these different things within and then just opening up to life in general. And as I did that, life happened for mom and she started figuring this stuff out and came across the material on her own. So a lot of times the idea is to stop
Yeah.
trying to make it happen and to stop trying to manifest it and to just let it be, opening
Yeah.
up to the idea that it can be, that life, can be there for you in that capacity. And it's very much in alignment with the stuff that I shared, before the meeting actually started or before anybody
Yeah.
came to the house. I shared this idea with respect to the idea of life just being perfect for you on its own, and life, being your own expression in all the happenings
Yeah.
around you. And the more open you are to different happenings and different expressions, the more room there is for expression to take, and the more it can start to be like the dream state. Um,
Exactly.
and so, because my mom is very much into Christianity too, and
Hmm.
she's always going to be, and I say she's always going to be because the essence of Christianity, the
Yeah.
root of it, is the same stuff that we're working on. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so in that way, it's really kind of fun. Um,
Hmm.
and but she is able to understand me to quite a significant extent now. Like I'm able to actually share myself with her. I used to not be able to do that. So
That's
that's
cool.
yeah, it's very fun, and it's really cool because I saw the whole build process for that consciousness, uh,
Yeah.
and so it
And
helped.
that's when you can appreciate it more, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, see the whole process of working on myself to be able to co-create that, and then seeing the expressions shift, and understanding what's going on.
Exactly.
That was special. That was
Yeah.
really special because I can actually then take that and share it and run with it and help other people to do the same thing because it really is about letting go um, and you know
Accepting.
yeah, not trying to control things and instead let things
Yeah.
be because they'll be for you on their own. So
Mhm.
hey, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and like you said, you were happy to be able to share things with your mom. And I think like as humans, that's all we want at the end of the day. If we all, let's say everybody, or we do, we all have our own religions and beliefs, but imagine being able to sit down with a Buddhist and talk about Christianity over tea and it not be the end of the world, you know? Like all we want to do is share and talk and then that's it. But,
well, yeah.
some
Once the fears are gone, then that can be.
oh yeah, exactly.
The essence is that we all, as a unit, want to explore consciousness and be reflections for one another. This is why, and I knew this was going to happen, when I basically decided to slam the door on you. I hated to do that, but, I saw what was happening and what was going to happen. Um,
Yeah,
and so it was kind of like, the old rock and hard place type of deal. Um, but, uh, but basically, yeah. And a little tip, and I think you'll find this tool very useful. When you're not able to express something physically, express it out loud as if you're talking to the individual who's there. You are connecting to a piece of their consciousness when you do that. And what you do in them and you as one is you plant a seed to expression of the integration of the idea because you've just done the healing within. And because they're a part
yeah,
of you, the shared seed of expression between you and them can then take. And then you can co-create after however much time, depending on how much resistance you carry. And by resistance, I just mean rules and regulations, not so much negative energy,
yeah,
so much as what's the character of your reality and that kind of thing.
yeah,
But that can cause expression to take longer to take. So then, when the expression does take, you can see the integration of the lesson, or even coming forth and asking the questions about the very thing that you shared energetically about, or something as a thematic match. I do this
yeah,
all the time, and when you're really open to your own expression, then when you do co-create this, and then the parallel things take place, and this happens all the time. Like in the House of TAT, I share something, and then somebody says, "No, I was just exploring. I just figured something like that out. An hour
yeah.
ago or a day ago," and this happens all the time, and it's the
Hmm.
thematic exploration and oneness, and that's what's behind all those parallel energies. Omni and I had a lot of time to get a thrill out of that, and now we're getting to appreciate it in a larger scale with everybody here as we all explore the different themes. And speaking of the exploration of themes, if you're excited to, I'd love to go ahead and seems like a pretty good time to share. You said there's a story with you and the Christianity and the coming out of that, the conversation for the other time. Well, it seems like now's a pretty good other time. So if
Um, yeah, I guess so. Trying to think where would I start. Um, well, just going back to when I said I was in church. So I went to a Pentecostal church. So, they do the whole speaking in tongues and healing and prophesying on people and things like that. Then I got to a point where I really just felt like I was serving the church. I felt like I wasn't getting a word out of church. I felt like I wasn't there for God. Um, it was very much, and I just feel like this is with churches in general. They always want to see who they can use. And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, but you need talented people, you need people with gifts to do certain things in the church. So it's always like a hunt for somebody or an audition or something. So I ended up taking on a few roles that just ended up feeling more like a burden, you know. I was at youth council, which was probably the most fun one because I got to teach the kids like, cheer and steps, and we used to go perform and do things like that. But then it got to the point my pastor was like, oh, well, when you and your friends are going out, you should be taking them out with you. And like he was trying to impose too much of my already church duties into my regular life. And then being a youth pastor or being a youth council member, I was dating, and you know how churches feel about dating and shacking up and stuff. So I was like, me and my boyfriend were living together at the time. And I felt like my pastor at the time was pressuring us to get married just so we can look right in the eyes of the church. And so we ended up getting married very early, not even really wanting to, but just trying to do, right by God and things like that. Um, and our marriage lasted probably not even a good 6 months before that went downhill. And I think after that, I was a little ashamed to even go back to church. So that kind of set in. Once I got over the shame and I went back, I felt like I went back and I was just seeing the church as a completely different, like seeing it through new eyes now that I had that break and that I wasn't working for them, and, just being hypnotized by them, the church itself, having that break and coming back. I was like, oh my God. And I say that because it was the typical raising, every time you go to church, you're raising money for this, raising money for that. I mean, we were raising money to buy our pastor new rims at one point. That like, um, your congregation barely. Some of these people don't have their own car to get to church, and we're coming up with money to raise money for you to have rims. You know what I mean? So I started seeing superficial stuff like that, and I was like, I cannot believe I stayed here as long as I did because that's all that they talked about was money this, money that, money this, money that. Um, and then icing on the cake was one time this pastor flirted with me online. This is when Yahoo Messenger was popular. I don't know if you remember that, but I think Yahoo was the first like company to kind of have the messaging thing where you can like talk back and forth. And this my pastor sent me a message on there that I thought was inappropriate, and I called him out on it. And he was shocked that I called him out on it, and I just stopped going to church from that day on. Like I've been done with church ever since all of that stuff that I just mentioned happened. And yeah, like I said, I just had a point where I sat back and it was just not, I was just like, wow, I don't want to be part of this type of institutionalized thinking. I don't agree with half of, that's another thing. Like I was there trying to do the right thing, but I honestly didn't agree with a lot of stuff that was being, preached or whatever. So I was lucky enough, in my opinion, to get out of that and elevate to where I am right now because it served its purpose. It did serve its purpose at the time, and I feel like me being in church kept me away from something else. Um, so I did get some spirituality and some things out of it, but at some point it just felt like I was only there to do what the pastor needed or do what the congregation needed or help raise money or help drive the kids here or there. It was just like, what am I here for? Where's my message? Where's my learning from God?
Yeah, it's funny because there's so much. When I listen to the start of that, one of the things I think about, where they have a vision, for you. Um, at the start of the movie Jumanji, the have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, then the vision that his dad had for being a parish and all that. Um, Going to the Cliffside School for Boys. Um,
Yeah.
and, it just, sometimes, and I shared a message with my father about this, and it's funny because Star and I talked about ghosts, and my father is really in a state that isn't too different from that. Um, sometimes life doesn't play out the way you had that you envisioned it playing out. Sometimes your family doesn't grow or evolve into what you envisioned it growing into. But you
Yeah,
don't want your faith in life being based on that. You
right.
want it being based on your own heart. And so, and the same thing goes with disciples. So when you're at church, it's all about faith and faith in life, faith in God, faith in everything to be well, faith, and I mean that in the long run, not in the short
Hmm.
run,
Yeah,
because you are playing a long game with this, and that means that a lot of difficulties that are there need to be brought to the surface and dealt with, and that could be a very difficult thing. Um,
right.
and so,
Yeah,
because there's things, unalignments within that are liable to stir up something really nasty, and that's what happened to me when my twin flame and I, and all that. You know, we really the heart of that was we pushed something before its time, and neither of us were ready, and we both had our different expressions of not being ready and things going wrong because of that. But basically, when you go ahead and trust life to be well in the long run,
yeah,
you're going to steer clear of a lot of pitfalls. And it is true that road does have rough spots, but it does lead to where people are trying to get to ultimately.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then there's another side to what I had to what my thoughts on another thought from your experience. But what do you think about what I've shared up to this point?
No, I'm totally with you. I agree 100%.
I wanted to make sure I didn't skip something that you wanted to share.
Oh no,
Yeah. So,
no, you're good.
but so the other thing is when it comes to churches in general, and I've seen, I've heard stories of guys, that take this road that start basically pocketing God's money because that's what that money is meant to be. It's meant to be God's money.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
start going down a path of sin and all that,
Hmm.
using people for their own ends rather than, basically being an instrument of God.
Yeah.
And, this is the thing. Your life story would be very different if you joined Gateway Church. Like it would be a lot different because you wouldn't have left. But
Yeah, those are the kind of churches that, I wish I could have came across.
yeah, it's interesting though because I look at Gateway Church, and they're just trying to. They keep working to expand their reach and help people understand. That Christianity is a faith more than a religion. It isn't about rules or regulations.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
about believing in life. It's about
Yeah.
believing in Jesus and all that. And it's true. A lot of the people don't get the nitty gritty details of that. But then I kind of go back to my original statement from the first part, which is the idea of the vision of the sun. If you go ahead and open up to things being well in general as opposed to things being well in a specific form, you can get to appreciate so much more from that. And so I basically then do the same myself with respect to the church and all the people in it. Um,
Yeah.
and so, because everybody is learning, everybody is getting to understand life and consciousness, and Jesus. There's Jesus's story and what he did, what he worked on, and I know they call him King Jesus a lot, and I know why they call him King Jesus, but I don't think Jesus would ever want to be called King Jesus. Uh, because he wants people to do as he did and not to go ahead and bow down to his every will. He
Hmm.
just wanted them
Yeah.
to go ahead and be like him and in that way get to appreciate everything, that comes out of being like that. In essence, he wanted the best for everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
he was just trying to lead by example, and we're like, oh wait, he's so cool. Like he's
uh,
like, you guys can do the same thing. No, all of you can, Jesus. We don't have it. And it's like we just completely missed the message when he tried to help us out.
but we didn't forget it, though. It just kind of
Exactly.
stayed there. And, well,
And some of us are getting it now, which is just as important.
exactly. The wheel's a full
Yeah.
circle. And we
Hmm.
have that choice again. I know which way I'm going.
Exactly.
But it is special though because I really in this way appreciate Jesus because I've done a lot of the very work that he does, and as do many of the people here, and many of the
Hmm.
people that we know in one form or another. Because the essence of his work is understanding source and understanding self in that aspect, and understanding
Yeah,
consciousness itself. That's really what his work is. And when you
yeah.
connect, you know, the Bible to that, a lot of things start to become clear very quickly. And it's
Hmm.
special when that revelation is made. Even some of the
Agree.
apostles they were starting to make that revelation. Now they had, they didn't have as much room to express things and it's interesting because Star asked the question, what if the channel doesn't have words? Well, this is one of the things. Sometimes there isn't as much experience, there isn't as much word, there isn't as much available consciousness to work with for expression to take within. And this is, you can kind of look back and see that in the Bible, and that a lot of people were channeling, or were expressing specific
Oh
ideas
yeah, for
held
sure.
within, but were not able to fully express, what it was that they were trying to
Hmm.
share in like the purest form because the confines of their minds and thinking um, cut out um, the exactitudes and nuances of what they wanted to share, but not enough to where it got lost completely. You could still see the energy there, and you could still see the idea that they were getting at by understanding the way they think and understanding the essence of what they're sharing. And
Yeah.
once you've started to understand it yourself, and I mean, when I say started, I mean started. I don't mean completed. Once you've started to understand it yourself, you can finish it a lot more easily based on what they've said and start to see what they were saying and why. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I told my mom that, that I feel like most of the accounts where people, wrote their experiences back in the day, I was like, these people were channelers. Like, I feel like channelers have been around since the beginning. And that even more so back then that they probably were more connected because the setup and the energies of the earth back then was more connected, to nature and spirituality and divineness, and people were just really, 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 really curious as to where the heck they came from and in general what was going around them because a lot of them didn't have the words to express thunderstorm, and to them it meant God was mad and we had to sacrifice a kid this week, or they're trying to make appease some God so that the water can come down for their harvest and stuff. So they were just doing their absolute best trying to figure it out back then.
yeah. But also, humanity was more compartmentalized back then. It's more
Hmm.
centralized and more integrated into itself now, as in everybody knows what's going on in all the rest of the world, basically.
Yeah,
Back
that's
then,
true.
that wasn't the case.
It was a big mystery.
Yes, and so they really just had the confines of where they were to work with. And this created certain areas of openness to experience that could then be had. Um, and so when, some things would happen, um, it wouldn't be something that would be a part of the consciousness of the whole world. And so you're dealing with a lot less consciousness in the co creational dynamic for this. And this way, with the openness of a fewer number of people, or the beliefs and the confines of a fewer number of people, that would be less confining in some cases and open up room for more types of expression to take, such as some of those that are talked about in the Bible. Um,
Yeah.
the essence of really like what I do, the sort of channeling, if you'd like to call it, that I do, is the simple expression of a vision. When I, am aware of a concept, I break it into detail and then iterate it in words or render it in words. And so,
Yeah.
um, it's a special thing to do that and break things like that into detail. Um, but there are people that have had ideas like that, and they use words that others can relate to and all that. And there's just a bit more now. Like I try to go ahead and distill the concept into like the most directly describe descriptive words that I can use to try to illustrate it for people and then sometimes I'll break it into detail to a specific context that is more familiar, um, and then connect the dots between that and what I'm talking about. And so that's a lot of what I try to do to express these things.
Yeah. Random question, but were you the one who left in the chat that one time that Nuke was sick on Nuke's top five? I can't remember if that was you or if that was someone else who said that.
The what?
Nuke's top five guy?
Um, I've left. I've hinted at Nuke's top five before, but I know I'm not the only one who's done so. Are you
No,
talking
I could have
about? Are you talking about the House of TAT chat or the Enlightenment Evolution Hour chat?
enlightening evolution hour.
Multiple people have linked the Nuke's top five there, and I am one of them.
No, I was asking, there was one time I was saying that he hadn't been posting and stuff, and I can't remember who
Oh,
said in the chat that he was sick or
I
that
know what you.
he had surgery or something. I was trying to
Yes,
remember if that was you.
that was me. I
Okay, what was up with that? I never got the full story on what was going on with them.
um. So if you check his video, top 10 ghosts that are so scary, I had to go get emergency surgery.
Oh my
Somewhere,
God, seriously.
somewhere in there
Yeah.
is, or somewhere along that point in time, you might be able to see in his community posts or somewhere around there. He talks a little bit more about what happened.
Oh,
But all
okay.
the people in the comments knew about it, and so when I saw that or learned that that was the case, I was like, oh, okay. And so I literally seen that um, moments before you asked about it, and then I,
Oh wow.
but yeah,
Yeah, because me and my husband, we like look for it. Like, I'll talk about it all the time. I love supernatural and stuff like that. So he's like our monthly, weekly dose of that. So when he stopped posting on a regular basis, it was literally disappointing. We'd be already we're like, oh, we're gonna watch Nuke this weekend, and then like a next week coming, it's not on there, and then another week. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this man?
yeah, I think he's doing better now.
Yeah, he hasn't started posting back as regular, but that's because too, I think he's been having a hard time like getting, more videos. Which like the other pages I watch that are like new, they usually just recycle stuff or they'll just be like, yeah, they'll just recycle stuff. Whereas Nuke, he likes to put out new stuff every time he shares something. So I think that's what takes him a little bit longer,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Well, maybe you and I can go visit some haunted houses and get some footage for him.
Right?
And
Oh
in the
yeah.
process, I could go ahead and do some work with the guy. I'm not big into cleansing rituals like some people do. I'd rather go ahead and connect directly with the ghosts over there and really just sit down and get to know them.
Well,
Um,
I always get frustrated at how, like, I watch outside of Nuke. I like to watch, ghost hunters and stuff, period. And I just get so frustrated with their lack of like, uh, I don't know. I guess steps, like, I don't know. I just feel like if I did it, I'd be doing it different. I don't want to say, well, if I were doing it, I'd do it better. Like, I can't say that. Obviously, I'm probably just talking shit right now, and if I was in the actual situation, be scared shitless. But as far as like steps and stuff, I this is gonna sound weird to say, but a lot of these people just seem like they have no respect for uh that energy, like ghost period. Like you just random person coming in this house and you're all, hey, is anyone here knock this over? Can anybody hear me? And then when they do it, you freak out and run. What was that? If you told them to knock something over, if if they're there, you don't understand how frustrated I get when I watch these shows. I just want to see a professional team that understands that they're dealing with actual consciousness, that if something responds back, you're not freaking out, you're saying thank you, you're showing appreciation. You know what I mean? Like it can be a totally different experience. Even like I feel like with some of the most negative energies, if they have a sense that you're just trying to understand them or respect them or help them or give love to them. Like I've never seen a ghost hunter offer love to a negative energy, right?
Yeah.
Most of these negative energies are full of negative energies for reason. So
Yeah.
if you literally try to offer them love and treat them other than this negative being that has been called its entire life and remind it, no, you're loved too. I've always wondered, like, how would that turn out?
There are two signs to this that are very important to note. And one of them, and I think your frustration is going to evaporate when I tell you this,
Mhm.
that is hard to do. Like, you know how Bashar has actually, four occasions, four occasions people have made arrangements to go meet Bashar in person. Can you
Uh-huh.
be over at this location at this time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they go over there. Without fail, he comes to land, they run away. They go through
Fr-
a bit of a shock in their consciousness and they're not able. That's because Bashar is not able to be the reflection and expression of their consciousness. And in that short time, in between the time where he starts coming down and the time where he would be down, they're not able to deal with all the consciousness and make the shift that they would need to make for what he is to be the reflection and
Yeah.
expression of them.
Yeah.
So, and that's not easy to do. Um, you know, I've trained myself and worked hard to be able to co-create that myself, and I think I can do it. But it was a while, a lot of self-exploration, and a lot of bravery to get to the point where I would be able to do that now.
Well,
Assuming
it should
that
be a goal of these ghost hunters.
I know,
I
and
only say
that,
it's annoying because it's like they just so nilly-willy with it when it could be a little bit more behind it, you know. And just
I know.
seeing that effort would be nice.
Well, here's the thing, that most people don't even know where to start with this stuff. Like they don't know anything about
Yeah.
actual consciousness. you know
Yeah.
and it's a tricky, these are very difficult concepts to understand. You like, it's like going over and trying to learn quantum physics,
Hmm.
because these things are that it requires a very different way of thinking to really appreciate it, because it employs premises that are not widely used by people. Multiple
Yeah.
realities, multiple existences being a real thing, um, and reality being a reflection of yourself instead of just being a happenstance of random chance. Um, and believe it or not, I did see one guy who did do exactly what you were hoping for. Well, almost.
I think I've seen one. I was gonna say that also. Maybe a few times when I watch my ghost things, I've come across maybe one group where they're like spot on with, and I'd be like, yes, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Well, it was in the name of God, and he was in the name of God, and he was scared to death, but he went in there anyway, and you know, just with God, that kind of thing.
For the group I'm talking about,
It was just
if
one
they
guy.
got a response, they thanked the entity. They said, thank you. Oh, can you do that again? Oh, thank you. And everybody was like being positive instead of freaking out when it happened or something like,
Yeah,
and telling it thank you and, asking, how can we help you? How can we help you pass on? I'm like, yes, like you go there and rattle up these spirits and leave and don't even try to help them cross over if they're stuck or something. You know what I'm saying?
I know. So remember, I said there
But
were two facets to this. That was the
mhm,
first one. The second one is the reflective and expressive element. Everybody's a reflection and expression of each other in our oneness. So in that way, a lot of these ghosts are not so easily able to co-create people being there for them because their belief structure and what they're existing in precludes that. And so, you would have to be an
because
expression
that have to be
of,
a huge assumption. Like I would need a ghost, I would need to channel a ghost, and for them to tell me that, for I to just accept that for the whole ghost race. Like I don't feel like every
oh,
single ghost doesn't have the capability of being helped, or being able to comprehend. Oh, these people are trying to help me, et cetera, et cetera. Some are stuck in loops, and some is just negative energy recycling in that area that we can pick up on EVP or whatever. But some are actually stuck. At least that's what I believe.
yeah, and there's that. But for me to fully express, what's the correct approach for this? So I was about to mess up, and I want to do this right. What would the type 1 being do? I wanted to share with you, um, because I only got through like a third of the whole thing with respect to that reflective and expressive dynamic. And you went straight to thinking that I was generalizing the whole ghost. And that's like thinking you know what the book's going to be before you read it. And then when you
Hmm.
go to actually read through it, then you feel bad because that's not how the book ends up going.
Yeah.
But and I was going to touch on exactly what you're concerned about, but I didn't know how to express this right. You
Go
know.
ahead.
All right.
There's no right or wrong way with me. Like it takes a lot to offend me. I honestly, I I bite my tongue a lot because I'm a very blunt person. So I speak as eloquent as possible because I don't want to ever say that. We're like, damn, Minga, you didn't have to say it like that. But that's why I left on one of Rob's posts where he was asking people to post some boring facts about them, and I said only about three people really know the full extent of my personality, and that learning, getting to know me is a lifetime mission. I think that's what I said in his post. Because it's true, like I have layers that I only reveal in layers to people as I get to know them because uh yeah, you just that's just how I am. But there is literally not much you can say to offend me. And if I disagree with anything or have a opinion on it, I like to go back and forth with
Yeah.
conversation. So don't ever feel like I'm being argumentative if I have something else after to say because like I said, I don't get to have these conversations. So
Yeah.
I long for people to go back and forth with and like hear your version and then it's like, oh, I didn't think about it like that, and then here's my version and
Yes.
then,
Yes. And that's
yeah.
the thing is there's a facet of that that I want to share that I know you haven't thought about before. Uh,
What?
and but I'm trying to find the right way of wording it and how to help you perceive that because like when you let go of the judgment of people for being willy nilly,
Blunt.
being willy nilly around the ghosts and stuff like that, and not connecting
Yeah.
with them, and you get to appreciate more. Like if you open up to them instead, um, then then you can start seeing more and start to see why what's happening is happening, and then your heart's desired experience, which is the idea of the gaps between them and the ghost being bridged, can start to come to fruition, and then you can start to see ways that that can come to fruition when you're no longer entrenched in living the version of it that you don't want to live. Um,
Yeah.
the idea is a lot of times people see things they're a way they don't like, they judge them, believe in frustration that they're being like this, they're going to keep being like this, that kind of thing, and they perpetuate the living cycle. You see what's happening?
Yeah, my only thing is this is like years of me watching it and
Yeah.
it started off like what you said with me just enjoying it and appreciating their reactions and all of that. And then it's like, okay, it's been 4 years and you guys still but
It's
I
hard.
don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it while I'm watching it because, it is what it is. But it's just like after years of seeing the same thing, if something is its own pattern, then it is what it is.
Yeah, those are hard. Like when it's a multi-year cycle, those are hard to break. Because then you get so entrenched into thinking that same way that like a new way, it's harder to it's harder to even conceive.
Yeah.
So, and I did go through what you're talking about, but it wasn't a multi-year cycle. It was just like I kind of touched on it, and I was like, why are they running away all the time? Um, and then I trained myself to be there, and I learned fairly quickly though from what the thing with Bashar, um, you know And I a lot of times when I watch things, I envision myself in their shoes and doing things differently. And I do this with movies a lot. I basically put myself
Me
in a
too. That's
scenario.
why it drives me more crazy because I'm envisioning it. Like I'm hands on. I'm an actress as it is. So I'm always putting myself in scenes.
Sometimes it seems so easy, doesn't it? But then when you're actually really there, oh yeah, then you can start to see that it isn't so easy sometimes, unless you've trained
Yeah, it
yourself to where it
depends.
is. But training yourself to where it is, that's for this, that's no slouch. That's a big job. And then to
Hmm.
even know to do it, and never mind even knowing what it is, and then carrying it out every step of the way, all the way,
Right.
and having that bravery, that's rare. That's very rare. But if
Hmm.
you want, maybe one day, the House of TAT can band together and be a group that does exactly that. And we can go meet some of these guys and hear their stories. Because the thing is, and this is the second part that I wanted to share, um, was that we could be the reflection of the part of them that is open. Because it is true, there is the reflective and expressive dynamic in that where there's not a lot of openness to co-creating a certain way, the idea of it being always negative or people being bad or hostile or all these different things. There's so many reasons why a lot of these ghosts get into these different cycles, and they are all different. And not
Yeah,
all of them, a handful of them stick around just to stick around. That's rare, but that does happen. Um,
that's gonna be me probably. At least for a little bit. If I have the option to stick around and then go off into the light and then, reincarnate as whatever. But I do have this fascination with the thought of being able to like, be around and visit some family members and hunt a few houses.
Yeah, that does sound like fun. Um, and when you know you can do that, it's kind of a special thing. But
I always
yes,
wonder if there's some limit to being here and being able to help family. Like if I stuck around, I would want to be able to help my like kids or, be here for my loved ones like as an angel or something.
yeah,
But then it's like I just feel like there's probably some rules that go with that where I'll be like, all right, forget it. I might as well just cross over.
yeah. And the thing is, the rules, because the reality in its entirety is of your own creation and is a reflection of yourself, you can indeed go ahead and co-create with rules such as those. But you're not necessarily restricted to that specific co-creation. Um,
Oh, good.
what I see in the higher probability of happening is something more along the lines of the idea of doing that. But when you see, that kind of oneness, it would make more sense to go crossover, as they say, because from the crossed over perspective, you're just as easily able to help them and might find that that's actually a more resonant way with you to help them than to do so by sticking around. But it does depend on the different beliefs and the different things that you learn and decide you want
Yeah.
to do throughout the journey. But you do truly have choice at every point. So, and
It's
that's the
funny you mentioned that because I don't know why I atone like crossing over to meaning, nope, you can't come back and do anything after that, In my head, like once you cross over, you got to go on this other whole new journey and get that kicked off. But
yes,
I don't know why I did that.
and it is the more common trend in a lot of these facets of co-creation. But
Yeah,
it's not the thing that's necessarily a restriction.
yeah.
It's just the norm.
Like you said, if anybody's going through that, it's because they created it, that belief in their reality, basically.
Yes, and that's exactly if I were to go over and visit these ghosts, I'd first acclimate to the energy, and if there's enough openness to my presence there and what is desired to be shared, I'd be sharing
Yeah,
exactly this. And I would even go so far understanding the nature of the consciousness and what I'm beginning to live in our two consciousnesses becoming one. This is the thing that creates the shock for so many people, is the partial blending of realities. I would then be
yeah,
able to go ahead and actually share from other levels of my consciousness, where a lot of times previously, before the crossover into the fourth density structure, where the afterlife structure would take place in between the third and the fourth density, I would be able to go ahead and share with my fourth density layer, using imagination as a pilot to show exactly what consciousness that I want to share. So it wouldn't just be me verbalizing it. I'd be walking them through it. I would literally be showing them by sharing a reality. And it would help them to really see what I'm talking about, and be
Yeah.
able to appreciate the specific consciousness and the mechanic behind it. But again, the openness would have to be there. But I can be a reflection and expression of a hidden part of their consciousness that has started to open up to this. Because the versions of them that I co create are reflections of my own self, I can have this openness within. And me being a part of their reality means a part of them is open. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to exist as a part of their consciousness at all.
Yeah.
So, this is why I'm able to co create with so many of the Alpha Draconians, including some of the most malevolent ones of them, and why I'm
Yeah.
able to go ahead and still be myself and share, is because there are those areas of openness. So, now I got a message from Omni. I don't know if he's going to show up at all. It looks like he might not. Um, and then Armani looks like he's not going to show up. Kayla, it might be hit or miss, and I don't know if Morgan has the new link. Um, so I may have to go ahead and let her know. I'm gonna go ahead and let Omni, because we changed it. There's a bunch of different things that are coming to fruition over on Discord, and I'm not able to walk. I'm just not able to share that road anymore. Um,
Yeah.
there are. It's a little less in my own excitement. Um, yeah.
I'll probably stay on for like another 10 minutes. Tomorrow's the first day of school and I haven't even did my kids' schedule for this week yet. I don't know what assignments they have due. I haven't checked any emails. I was like, the hell with all that crap today. But I do have to do it before I go to bed tonight
If they
or I'm
didn't get done their excitements that were their assignments that were supposed to be done over winter break, and that's the next day of school is tomorrow, they're
oh no,
screwed.
no, no, not that. I'm talking about to make their schedule, I have to look at their upcoming assignments.
Oh,
Yeah. So all the stuff that's going to be due this week, I look for both kids and I write it down and I type it all out and then I have their weekly schedule made.
and I helped them get done all their homework. I
Yeah.
remember those days. It's all about passion in the end of the day. The passion's there. It'd be easy to get things done without procrastinating, but if it's not, then it just simply won't desire to be done. And that's what.
Yeah, I just chose to hang out with my husband over doing it earlier. We were watching movies and watching some YouTube stuff together and like, he starts his new job tomorrow, so we were just kind of having our last time to hang out before he goes back to work and I see him only at like night or whatever. I was like, I'll hang out with him. I'll go into the group for a few hours, and then when I get off here, I'll work on the schedule. So that was just kind of mentally planned.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and I know I'm going to have to leave all the coordination of the house to other consciousness. I'd rather just go ahead and be myself here, and
yeah,
whoever comes comes, and whoever that's going to be their matter to sort out rather than mine. Um,
yeah. My city is so noisy.
let's see. Okay, you know what? Omni might show up later. I misread his email. Um, so I don't know. There is no specification at all of what's going to happen tonight. So
Yeah, all good. When I join, I don't usually care who joins since I come and I show up for the overall purpose of our meeting. Co-create whoever's here. I enjoy whoever's not.
yeah,
See them next time. I always feel guilty when I miss it though.
yeah.
Like, oh, I can't tonight.
I mean, sometimes that's just the way life goes. I know it's getting time for me to go ahead and take an intermission, though. Um,
Okay.
and so I'll probably be back in maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
All right, well, I'll just go ahead and get off and go ahead and work on what I need to finish for tonight. It
All
was
right.
good talking to you.
Yeah, it was really good talking to you as well. Um, I know that if Rob were to see the recording of this, I think he'd get a kick out of it.
You think so?
I do. It sounds just like one of the. It sounded a lot like the Enlightenment Evolution Hour episodes and that kind of thing,
Oh,
except it's with
wow.
old Tat.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Can't wait to get him over here one day.
Yeah. Oh, he's been really busy lately.
I
I'm
know. I can't
hoping.
wait to get back on the show, but I need to be doing something. Like I have nothing to talk about
Yeah,
that's different from the last time I was on the show, but
yeah. I'm just
I
hoping that
just
his
like
family.
talking.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm just hoping that his family's okay. So,
Oh yeah. I think they're all good.
all right. Well, cheers, Mama Minga. It's
All
always
right.
great. It's always great having you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. Break the recording. 21:26 hours.